morning, dear hearts. We are on lesson 348. Please subscribe. It's very much, I see, as a continuation from yesterday. Yesterday being that anger must come from judgment. Judgment is the weapon. This is the important part. Judgment is the weapon I use against myself to keep miracles away from me, to keep everything that is good and wonderful, and that is my Father's will. I use judgment to keep all of that far, far away. Today's lesson is, I have no cause for anger or for fear, for you surround me, and in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices me. Your grace is enough. So just to go back for a moment to those judgments that I'm making, that try to keep the miracles away from me, those judgments have no substance. They are all based on illusions. None of them are real. They have come from the ego mind, so they are illusory. They are vain imaginings. They are the temptations and the plots and the plans that the ego uses to try to convince me that I am not who I am and that indeed I'm not worthy. So now we go to today's lesson, that I have no cause. I have no cause for anger or for fear because God surrounds me. And so obviously all of those judgments that I made against myself, all of those harsh ideas that I have and thoughts that I have had about myself, they cannot possibly be true because God surrounds me. God encircles me in everything I do, in every moment of the day. God goes with me wherever I go. I am surrounded by the love of God. I am encircled. So with that in mind, I have no cause for anger or for fear or for the ego. For you, Father, you surround me, and in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices. Your grace is given me. Earlier in the course, when we had a lesson about grace, your grace is given me. I think I claim it now. Anyway, we were told that don't really spend too much time about grace because no one in this world actually understands what God's grace is. But God's grace is this beautiful wave that comes over us of recognition, knowing, finally realizing the truth of who we are, finally able to truly imbibe and embrace what God would have us understand, so that we can indeed come home and we can indeed know who we really are. So in that moment, our Father's grace flows over us so that anything, any fear thought, any judgment, any anger, any moment of feeling about lack or less than, unworthiness, sinfulness, all of that simply will flow away, fall away, because I am surrounded by my Father. The lesson begins, Father, let me remember you are here. Now, I mentioned these just a few days ago, the whole let me remember lessons that we had in part 2 of the workbook, the fourth central thought, what is sin? Let me remember what my purpose is. Let me remember my goal is God. Let me remember there is no sin. And let me remember God created me. Let me remember I am one with my Father. Let me remember you are here. And I am not alone. Again, God goes with me wherever I go. I could never be alone. I could never be abandoned. Surrounding me is everlasting love. I have no cause for anything except the perfect peace and joy I share with you. God's peace and joy are mine. Light and joy and peace abide in me because they abide in my Father. What need have I for anger or for fear? Surrounding me is perfect safety. Can I be afraid when your eternal promise goes with me? Can I be afraid when I know that God's promise that I will find salvation, that I will come home, that nothing will hinder me or stop me once I have made that decision. God's promise to his children is you are loved and you will find your way home to realize that you never left. That's God's promise. So can I be afraid when I know that that is what is real? Surrounding me is perfect sinlessness. What can I fear when you created me in holiness as perfect as your own? Let me remember I am one with God. Let me remember who my Father is. Let me remember what my purpose is. Let me remember God created me, and God creates in wholeness and in peace and in love and in joy and perfection. And the thought doesn't leave the source. So none of that has ever changed. Let me remember that today, and that would be enough. The second part of the lesson is the couple of lines that are text, and it says, God's grace suffices us in everything that he would have us do. God's grace is enough. But God has given us, through his grace, through the extension of his holy mind, that's enough. And only that we choose to be our will as well as his. If God had only given us his love, that would be enough. If God had only given us peace, his peace, that would be enough. If God had only given us his everlasting joy, that would be enough. We believe in this world that there isn't enough. But what we can find out, what we can learn, what can dawn upon our minds through this beautiful course, there's always enough. And God has given us love and safety and sinlessness, joy, happiness, comfort. God has given us everything that we could ever want or hope for. And even if I only understood one of those characteristics that my Father has bestowed upon me, has blessed me with, truthfully, that would be enough. And with that one recognition, I have no cause for anger or for fear, because you, Father, surround me with your love and with your peace and with your gentleness. And in every need that I perceive, your grace is enough. And it is here for me and for all of my brothers and sisters today. And that is enough. And that is all for today. So I hope it helped. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please smile. Please breathe. Oh, and remember, and many people have been mentioning about the smile. It changes everything. It's just the slightest little muscle use that we have. But that smile changes so much within us, because let's recognize that when we smile upon another, it is also God smiling upon both of us, all of us. So breathe, smile, pray. Please be here tomorrow. Namaste.